sightings in Kansas City a number of years ago. I'm going to quote this person. My sister and niece and two of my friends have seen them in Kansas City. All of them except one have college degrees. They know what a pterodactyl is. All right. Here's another sighting report from a few years ago. I'll quote this. One evening I was letting my dogs out and I seen the shadow on the ground. I looked up and saw what would appear to be a pterodactyl flying overhead. It was almost like a movie. It flew right under the full moon. I saw the pointy head and 2 feet curling underneath with a long tail. Unfortunately, he didn't respond to my email asking where was this, but that email is from 2021. Here's a sighting report from another video. This one I received in 2020. Quote, I want to tell my story to someone who might believe me. It was in the year 1995, Gainesville, Georgia. I was 14 years old. It was about 2 in the morning, and we were taking a cruise, 1970-something Cadillac. We were driving through downtown Gainesville. We saw this bird eating something in the middle of the road. The closer we got, and as the headlights illuminated this creature, it dawned on us that what we were seeing was not something normal. This thing stood up from kneeling position, and when it did, it completely revealed itself. It was featherless with a bony round head, beady eyes, and bat-like wings. It had this long, slick tail. This thing jumped up out of the road without making a sound and spread its wings. When it stood, though, it was almost as tall as the car, but its wingspan was as long as this old-school Cadillac. Now, through all the years, I told a lot of people that story, and nobody believed me. Okay, here's more from the same email, but this one is, it's a different eyewitness, but she's acquainted with him. It was in the same year, 1995, but it's a few miles away in Flowery Branch. And the guy and some of his friends were over at his house, and they heard his mom, Donna, screaming, "Let him go! Let him go!" All came running out of the room to see Randy's mother swatting this giant featherless bird. That flying creature that picked up one of their large dogs. The creature finally released the dog, and that was that. The lady was swatting at this big flying creature with a broom. The creature finally released the dog, and that was that. She told her story, and I shared with her my story. So the first eyewitness told that lady about her sighting, which was the same year. Here's another sighting report from an email. This email was 2021. A quote, "For what it's worth, I saw this crested one that was as big as a Piper Cub back in 1968 or 69. The shocker is that it was in broad daylight over a city of 25,000. I saw it for a good 30 seconds as it headed due west. And unfortunately, I didn't get any details about where this was. I asked people, where is your sighting? And sometimes they don't get my email or something. So please, if any of you have ever had a sighting, try to communicate with me so that we can find out details. It's kind of important to know where this was. I assume in the United States, but we don't really know. Here's another one from an email. Quote, "I think I may have seen one in Victoria." That's Canada. First I heard its wings, strange sound, almost like zip sound. Then I got the object and thought it was some kind of aircraft until it turned sideways, and I saw the distinctive triangle-shaped wing pointing straight down. I believe no bird could make the sound of its wings. If it was a wedge-tailed eagle, it would have to be standing on my head, flapping its wings," unquote. I think a person means for it to make that kind of sound, that loud sound, it would have to be right next to the eyewitness's ears to hear it that loud. Here's another email. "I have several sightings in Ghana, West Africa last year. In the first case, I was in Accra. There was a strange sound, sounded like the baby T-Rex in the second Jurassic Park movie." Now we have some sighting reports of apparent pterodactyls in Alaska. Okay, quote, "On the 15th of October 2002, the Anchorage Daily News in Alaska reported that villagers in Togiak and Manakotak in the remote southwestern corner of Alaska had repeatedly seen a bird as big as a light aircraft and looked like a pterodactyl. It was at least 4 times the size of a bald eagle. Another sighting was made from 1,000 feet away by bush pilot John Booker and his passengers while flying his Cessna 207 to Manakotak around the 7th of October. He calculated its wingspan at 14 feet, roughly the length of one of his Cessna wings. Then Moses Kupchiak, 43, a heavy equipment operator from Togiak, 40 miles west of Manakotak, saw the bird on the 10th of October flying toward him from about 2 miles away as he worked his tractor. He said, "At first I thought it was one of those old otter planes," he said. "Instead of continuing toward me, it banked to the left, and that's when I noticed it wasn't a plane. It flew behind a hill and disappeared." Okay, that's interesting, huh? Here's a very brief account in an email. Quote, "Seen one near Petrified Desert, Arizona, about 15 years ago. Other person with me seen it too." That email I received late in 2021. We're going to have a 7-year anniversary of this channel in a couple months,